Hello and welcome to IT Chronicles 10 in Tech. I'm here with Kathleen Wilson and Kirstie Magowan. How are you?
I'm good, thanks, Carlos. Nice to see you.
And
nice to see you, Carlos.
Oh, sorry, girls. So Evan Carlson from EasyVista. How you doing, Evan? It's been quite a while. I know we've spoken for years now in this space, but hear a lot of good stuff coming from EasyVista. I know you guys are working into some of the more popular areas now, like AI, and obviously, using customer experience as a driver for a lot of that stuff. Tell us a little bit about, what's going on at EasyVista, and, we'll get started from there.
That's great. Yeah, absolutely. Carlos, good to see you again, and nice to meet you, Kathleen and Kirstie. Yeah, with EasyVista, we've been doing ITSM for a long time, and it's certainly evolved, but at the end of the day, I think our focus is changing a bit with the market and the customers. The plumbing, if you will, for ITSM is in there, and people are looking for something exciting. So we're, of course, working on AI and natural language processing, machine learning, and focusing it on the user experience in the front office and tying it to the business, and it's keeping things interesting.
So, Evan, I have a question because I haven't seen much new in the ITSM world, specifically around tooling. Seen some updates since maybe 2011. Can you explain a bit what's new from an EasyVista point of view, what's new in ITSM?
Yeah, well, to be quite honest, we hadn't seen too much in the space either, and that's why we went ahead and we invested in technology, which we call self-help. A big part of what we're focusing on these days is enhancing user experience from an end customer perspective. At the end of the day, there's been a lot of rollout of, as an example, self-service portal with very poor adoption rates. I think the most recent HDI report noted about 15%, and the comments in there were that it is the least loved channel for folks to get in touch with support. So we're really seeking to improve that, focusing around user experience, focusing around knowledge management, done in a very non-traditional, new, unique way. And we're seeing extremely rapid adoption there. So we're trying to make it exciting again.
So what is unique about the way you're doing knowledge management? What's so different?
Yeah, great question. So there's a number of areas, but if you think about the areas where folks typically struggle with knowledge, they either have too much of it and it's junk, or they have so very little because they see no point in creating it when it's going to become out of date very quickly. So the creation and management of knowledge we do quite differently, but also the way it's consumed. So if you think about knowledge, we've all been there. We brought up a knowledge article, and it's a 55-page PDF on how to set up your soft phone, and people just groan. And that's not the way that people want to consume knowledge, and that's not the way that we should provide it to them. So if we put ourselves in their shoes, one of the areas that we've been able to do it is to create bite-sized knowledge flows rather than articles, and weave an individual through the answer that they need, and they get it much more quickly, and it actually creates an emotional experience that makes them want to go back to that medium to get the next answer.
Right. So they just go as far in as they need to get the answer they want.
To them. It's also something where, in a flat file knowledge article, Word document, PDF, etc., it treats everybody the same. But one of the things that's available today through technology is the ability to be much more context aware of that individual's needs and serve them up what they need when they need it.
So Evan, the tie-in for the AI component into that knowledge management component, is that something that me as a user of EasyVista is going to even recognize, or is it just my experience gets better and it's all behind the scenes kind of providing me more context sensitive type information that I need at that time?
Well, that's a good question, Carlos. I didn't think you had it in you, but yeah, absolutely. The AI component, as it should be, should really be seamless for the user. It should be taking place in the back end. I'll give you an example, right? So at the end of the day, we hear a lot about chatbot, virtual assistant. So if you're an end user and you're seeking an answer, you don't know if that's an individual typing back to you over chat or if it's being automatically served up to you. At the end of the day, what you want to do is solve that immediate issue that's in front of you, and you want to move on. And quite frankly, the organizations providing support want to do the same. And that's really what we're seeking to do. So I think to answer your question, it really should be a seamless experience where they don't know that it's AI that's giving them the answer they're seeking.
So now digital transformation is buzzing all over the place. Every conference you go to, there's umpteen dozen talks about digital transformation. So where do you see ITSM and digital transformation meeting? What's the common ground?
Yeah, so at the end of the day, the way that we're looking at digital transformation at EasyVista is we're seeking to simply put, leverage the digitization of the way people are accessing and using service management in their organizations. And one of the primary areas is around that user experience, around knowledge, around being independent of the need for a person to help and support you. One of the interesting examples, I travel a lot, there was a lot of delays on a particular flight, and the folks walking up to the gate agent, because it was delayed 30 minutes at a time, they were stopping 15 minutes short. They didn't want to engage with the gate agent. They wanted to squint up at the board because everybody needs their glasses, and they wanted to stop there. And I think that, we're seeing that throughout support, throughout IT. And really what we're seeking to do is embrace that. It's not a bad trend for the industry. It's obviously something that the users want. And quite frankly, it reduced costs of support and delivery too.
Mm-hmm.
So, Evan, I have a question, especially for folks that are doing traditional ITSM. This is a three-part question. So what should traditional organizations that are strong in ITSM continue doing? What do they need to start doing? And what do they need to stop doing?
Oh, interesting. Okay, so what they need to continue to do is make sure that they're taking a look at what's working and what's not working and optimize. I mean, at the end of the day, an organization is living, breathing, changing all the time, and they need to be aware of that. There is not a single process in an organization that should stay stagnant, for certainly years, let alone months. I think one of the areas that folks need to start doing is focusing on knowledge and really looking at a new approach to it. The traditional ways of knowledge, KCS, which has been around for a very long time. I think a lot of people have started again, and it continuously falls flat. But there's a new way to do that I think will provide a much better experience. And then stop doing is, quite frankly, and as a tool vendor, you might, not be surprised me saying this, but blame the tool. A lot of time there is, a reason that an organization is facing challenges with their processes and their systems. And you really got to take a look at the organization first. We talk with too many organizations still that say, what we had before, I want to implement the same exact thing in your tool. And that's a challenging conversation that I'm surprised we still have.
Yeah, that's the hardest thing when you go into an organization like that. Oh, we want to do things exactly the same way we did before. Then why are you changing? Because, we didn't like the way we did things before. But yeah, they also don't like change at the same time.
Yeah, and a lot of times that's, obviously the people doing that are the ones that made the decisions first time around. Yeah. So they'd be essentially pointing the finger back at them for having selected the quote unquote wrong tool the first time around. Mm-hmm. So it's just not being real. I mean, I've said it a million times that, all the tools stink, all of them are great, in the right application or in the wrong application. Yeah. They can succeed and they can fail. And it generally comes back, to the people that are either following the procedures and the processes or not. And the tool kind of just, expedites that, and it'll expedite it in a better or in a worse way. It doesn't really, care. So it will expedite things. So, so I guess, Evan, like I said, the AI thing, the knowledge management, I mean, it sounds interesting. I mean, the tie of the two, as we know, those big articles, the lack of updating of the articles, I guess, is really the key component there, right? We've created millions of articles over time, but how do they stay up to date? Is that also part of where the AI is tying into that?
Well, it is, and AI is tying in on how it is created and what is subject to, hey, should this be a knowledge article? So there's a lot of AI components that can serve up, this should be considered knowledge going forward, and also how it's consumed, right? So you traditionally, kind of hardwired stuff to be presented as knowledge, but ultimately, that knowledge flow, that path to an answer, will be served up by AI. And I'm in conversations on a daily basis with organizations that continuously say that, their goal in the next, one CIO is quite aggressive in the next 12 months is to not have an L1, help desk. And I find that a bit of a stretch today, considering where most organizations are. But, going back to Kathleen's question too, where everyone should aspire to is to leverage the technology in terms of, certainly AI to provide a better experience. But, and I hope you're seeing this too, people do need to realize that AI is not just turn it on and you're off and running. There is certainly effort behind it. And I think, quite frankly, because of the all of the wonderful marketing that's out there, they don't think that's going to be the case. It's going to take a bit of effort.
Yep, there is no magic bullet, and AI certainly doesn't fit into that category either. There's always going to be work to be done. Well, thanks, Evan. We've had a great time chatting with you today. I'm sure there's a lot more we could have talked about, but we'll have to leave it at that for now. So thank you very much for your time. Thanks, Kathleen. Thanks, Carlos.
Thanks, Kirstie. Thanks, Evan. Thanks, Kathleen.
Thank you.
Thank you.